Hey, well, we are here with Holly from Sweet and Swag. So, Holly, why don't you tell us a little bit about how Sweet and Swag was founded?
Sweet and Swag was founded by my best friend. Her name is Shannon, and it did not start with an intention to be a business. And I think that that's a really important part of the story. How it started is a friend of ours. We lived in the same condos, and a woman that we went to church with and was neighbors with very tragically lost her baby. And we were both young moms at the time, and thinking like, can't imagine like what do we do? How do we help her? And aside from like take dinner in or let's help watch kids, which those things are very helpful.
Yes.
But something to be noted about Shannon is that she doesn't ever do anything half-heartedly. And so that just wasn't enough for her. And she was up one night and she's like, I'm gonna make bow ties. So she went to the fabric store the next day. She bought all the supplies that she needs for bow ties. And she just started making these bow ties with the intention of selling and the proceeds being donated for the funeral expenses or whatever else came up that goes in conjunction with that.
Right.
And she told me what she was doing, so I'm like, I'll be there. Like, I'd lay my baby down at night, she'd lay her baby down, and we'd go and like sit and make these little bow ties and like have blisters all over our fingers, like 2 a.m. And again, Shannon doesn't do things half-heartedly, so she had so much excess when we were done.
Yeah.
I mean, she sold as many as she could. She donated to the family, and then she was like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I was like, you should put those on Etsy. She's like, I have no idea what that even is. So we pull it up and I show her, and she's like, yeah, I can help pay off student loans and I can be home with my baby. And it was just like this, she could feed a creative outlet and a social outlet because it was something like we did together.
Yeah.
And then she could also, her higher priority was taking care of her family, her little girl at home. So she started that, and she started to add a few more patterns and sizes, and then she added in some suspenders, and
which are so cute, by the way.
I have any here. Aren't they cute?
So cute.
And we used to cut every single. We had these big long measuring sticks, and we would measure out for whatever size they bought, and we'd cut them and like assemble all of those things. And honestly, they were the best days. Like I cherish those memories so much. We lived in condos. She was on the 3rd floor. So we would have, like, we'd trek up all these stairs to get there, and we'd call it our little sweatshop. It was so hot. But
did you guys live in the same condo?
The same complex. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That would be so That'd be our dream.
And it actually was not even planned that way.
Wow.
So it started to outgrow what she could do and the help that I would offer her as well. So she wanted to be able to offer that opportunity to the other moms in the neighborhood. So moms and their babies would just come work at her house or take stuff home or pop in when they needed to. And it was something that they could do with their baby and provide a little extra financial support, or like I said, that outlet as like a young mom.
You're all missing that at that time.
Yeah. And it just built this like little community there that, I mean, it was already there, but
bonded it.
All of us young moms and all these babies everywhere, and it was so special. And Shannon is a nurse by profession, and she worked in the NICU, and she does not have any formal business training. And so to watch her turn something that was intended to be a fundraiser and stop at that, to watch her turn Sweet and Swag into what she did while she still was being that mom and fulfilling that role that was so important to her. She was a wife. Her husband is a lawyer, and he had a law firm that he was working at. So, I mean, he was out of the home working, and she's all self-taught though. And it was really inspiring. And Shannon always had this mentality that like she wouldn't let like a temporal thing, an earthly thing, hold her back. If that was like her will of what she wanted to do, or if I wanted to do something, if I told her I wanted to swim across the Atlantic Ocean, she would be like, you can. She would convince me that I could, because she had that much faith that when you set your mind to something, like you can accomplish anything.
Unstoppable.
Yep.
Unstoppable.
I think some of the best entrepreneurs that I know are people that have no formal business degree and who are just doing it with the power that is in their heart.
Their
And
why, right?
yes, absolutely. Amber is one of those people.
It's passion.
It is
I feel
passion.
Like. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, I call this my passion project.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So, when you guys were doing this, what year was this around?
Let's see. I think she started this in 2011.
Okay. So, a couple of years go by.
Yeah, a couple of years. They had moved like they grew out of the condo. So they moved and they had a little shop. Like they had bought a home with the basement, have separate access.
Oh, nice.
So that same concept, more space.
Yeah.
And then they outgrew that. And eventually we ended up here at the warehouse where she could get the inventory and buy things in the amounts that she needed to keep up with things.
Yeah. And have the room.
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
The demand grew and grew and grew.
Yep, and
because it's adorable.
And she had a little girl, so like she really thought like, what would I want as a consumer? Yeah. Like, I don't like this part of it, so let's change that. Or I really like this concept, but I can't afford that on my budget, so let's fix that. How can we lower a price point? Mm-hmm. So these aren't genuine leather; they're vegan leather. But she made sure she wasn't compromising on the aesthetic and the durability. So she tested all sorts of different materials to make sure that she was getting the best product and the best price point that she could get, because she knew as a consumer what mattered to her.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
what we want. Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why you're sitting here, Holly, and Shannon is not sitting here?
So few years in, her husband Brett, the two of them I'd mentioned he was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. He had a firm, and they had felt this prompting that he needed to resign from his firm and be at home. And he was like, I can help with kids, or I can help administratively, because she was no longer, the warehouse wasn't any longer in her home, right? And she had 2 little girls. She'd had another baby at this point. And so they're like, I don't know that this makes sense. Like, it's a little scary, a lot scary, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? This is what feels right, and this is what we're going to do. So they did that.
Faith, not fear.
Yeah.
Right?
She actually has a necklace that has that exact saying on it. So,
really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
And, yep. Her mom actually got all of her sisters and myself and her matching necklaces that say that, because that was 100% her motto. That's awesome. One of them. She had a couple.
Whoa.
So, they did that. They took that leap of faith because they just felt like that was the right direction, not because it actually made sense on paper, right? And I mean, he was an owner in this firm. Like, he and a friend had started this firm. So it wasn't just like a, hey boss, I'm giving my 2 weeks, you know,
right.
Like it had a lot. I mean, there was just a lot more to it. So
just dominoes that fell.
Yeah.
Having him leave. Yeah.
So they move forward and they get him home and kind of get him a little more into the behind the scene things and what she would need help with and what she doesn't want him to help with and all of those things. And he had so much more time with their girls. And as a family of 4, they were both working together, and then their little girls were together all the time. And a couple of months after that is when it became a lot more apparent why they felt prompted to do that. When Shannon received a terminal diagnosis, she went into the ER and they found a massive brain tumor. And they said, you only have a couple of months to live, get your affairs in order. It was a glioblastoma, so they're very aggressive. And her treatment, she didn't really have a lot of treatment options. They said, we can do surgery and try and remove as much as we can to kind of like slow the progression, you know, a little bit, but like this will take you and it will be soon, so get your affairs in order. And the surgery,
how scary.
I mean, they have 2 tiny little girls. They were just so little. And that was the thing with Shannon, though, is she's like, if there's a will, there's a way, right? So she had surgery. She walked out of the hospital, brain surgery, a craniotomy, I think within 48 hours.
Wow.
And she was like, no, this is not, I'm going to do all the research that I can. Again, like once she sets her mind to something, she dug in and she had, a holistic approach and more natural approach. She changed her diet. She was very self-disciplined in order to do a lot of these things because it was not easy. She went full force with it. But what she relied on the most was her faith. And it was very powerful to watch. Even though I am in this close circle with them, I still have an outside perspective.
Right.
And so seeing their little family unit just have faith in their future, regardless of what that looked like, and to be willing to put in all of that work while they figured that out it was so powerful and beautiful to watch.
So admirable too, because a lot of people would be throwing in the towel, not continuing to fight, not continuing to swim across the Atlantic, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to that point, that is when our sister brand Papillon Bébé was born. And her tumor, the location of her tumor, really should not have allowed that. It really was supposed to be affecting her fine motor skills, her memory, her vision, her like creative abilities, a lot of different things. And she was like, nope.
What a warrior.
And when she would go to these doctor's appointments, I mean, they would look at her scan and then they would look at her and they're like, there's no way this is your scan. With how large this tumor is, you should not be functioning at this capacity. Wow. And she just worked tirelessly to get this sister company out. So Sweet and Swag is leather, like our baby shoes, leather goods, and like matching accessories.
They're so beautiful too.
And
they're everyone's favorite today.
They're so cute. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
And so she stuck with like the leather theme. And so she created the sister company so that they still kind of had their own separate entities. But this is our knits line. And it's the softest fabric you'll ever touch.
It is so soft. I actually was playing with it earlier. I'm like, this is incredible. I need something made out of this.
So I sleep in the mother's gowns. My kids we have like smaller swaddles, but we have large swaddles, and my kids all have large swaddles that they snuggle up with and like travel with and go to the movies with because we love it too.
Yeah. Okay, so you started Papillon Bébé.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon started Papillon Bébé. And what happens next?
So what was supposed to be a couple of months and a quick deterioration of her health ended up being almost 4 years that we had with Shannon.
Wow.
And it was not an easy 4 years. Some of it was easier than others. She had good times, but she fought so hard for the life that she wanted so badly. And she just had that faith that she's like, if a miracle's going to happen, I'm here for it. And if not, then, we'll deal with that when it comes. But she just had the best mindset, and the physical effects very well could have held her back and been an excuse, or even not an excuse, like just an actual reason why she was unable to do things. But the time was just like the best gift that their little family and all the people who loved and supported them could have with her. And they opened their home. So, I mean, they would just, whoever wanted to come over at any time, because Shannon just had this ability to make people feel so loved. At her funeral service. There were so many people like, Shannon was my best friend. Shannon was my best friend. Shannon was my best friend. And that is because she loved so hard. And so she did make everyone feel just as important as the next person. And she supported them. And they're swimming across the Atlantic too,
That's awesome.
And so we had almost 4 years with Shannon. And eventually the time came where she had progressed enough that she was able to return home with her Heavenly Father. And it was a very sacred experience because of the person that she was. She was beautiful in life, and she was beautiful in death.
So, having said that, your hair, and when I hear beautiful, I think what you're doing is so admirable and beautiful. So tell us about that. Tell us about your journey.
So Shannon and I started working to, it was Shannon's business, but I've always been very involved with it because we were so close. And so even when I wasn't actually working, she'd be like, okay, look at these designs. What do you think about these? So I was spun up enough on things, and I had my babies premature, and that's when I stopped actually working for Sweet and Swag. I was like, okay, when Beckett is in school full time, I'll be back. So she'd always count. She'd be like, Holly, how old's Beckett now? I'm like, we got another 3 years, girl. And the timing of her passing, and when I had asked Brett, I said, if you need help with that because you have a lot of other things going on, I'm available. Happened to be when Beckett went back to school full time, which was a couple months after her passing. So it felt like a full circle moment for me when we made those realizations and those connections, and it's just kind of that validation that I'm doing what I should be doing. But it's also helped me and benefited me so much in my grieving process, being able to be in a place and around the things that she created and loved so much. And sorry. And so it helps me because while we're here, I feel her here. She loved this place. She poured her heart and soul into it. And I mean, it started out as a woman-run business, and I wanted to be able to keep that legacy going. And she has 2 little girls, and the goal, her husband Brett is still very involved, but the goal that we have is to keep this business alive, that we can give that little piece of their mom to them when they're old enough to take that over. We don't know exactly what that looks like or the direction that will take us, but having that common goal in mind and being able to give those little girls such a big piece of their mama would, I just think, how would you not want to be a part of that?
Absolutely.
In
any capacity.
In any
could
capacity,
be marketing or whatever, who knows what they want and desire, but I'm sure it's some piece of this. This is just beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I love being able to carry on her legacy. That's one of my biggest missions in being involved in her business, is being true to what she would want.
Yeah.
And it's been hard for us to make any changes or add patterns or prints, because that is just part of the healing journey and the grief, because what she made, we just see it as something that is just perfection,
Yeah.
And so that's been a little bit tricky as we are learning how to move through those and keep the product relevant and keep the customers happy. I mean, still, as a mom, what would I change or what would I do? She would not have sat stagnant. She would have created 5 more brands at this time,
Yeah.
So,
well, why is April significant?
April is a very big month for us for a lot of reasons. So the first being, we celebrate Shannon's birthday every April. So
what day is Shannon's birthday?
April 13th.
Wow.
So next Saturday, I believe. So,
well, happy early birthday to Shannon.
Thank you. And 10 days after her birthday is when we celebrate her passing. And so April is just our month of our Shannon, and we try our very best to honor her and her legacy all the time, but specifically during April. So every year since her passing, this will be the 3rd one. This will mark year 3 in a couple of weeks, but we do a legacy fundraiser where we've done t-shirts in the past where we've sold them with her motto was to do good for those around her. And so that is a motto and a mission that we want to be able to carry on and do the things that she would do. So the proceeds from those t-shirts, and last year it was just 100% of proceeds from sales. And those proceeds go to a family who is also battling cancer. And
wow, I love that.
As little or as much as it is, the ability to be able to give back in someone's time when it's just such a vulnerable time, No matter the impact that it makes, big or small, like having a hand in that is such a special thing.
Yeah.
But to be able to have a hand in that and say, this is in honor of Shannon, I think that's really powerful for Brett to be able to do. Sure. And give back in that way, because I know that he has felt like just such an outpouring of love, because Shannon was so loved and respected and had so many best friends. Their house was never empty.
Yeah.
So he wants to be able to provide that sort of atmosphere for other people who are struggling with those things.
I feel like this sounds weird, but I feel like I kind of know her just through you and your actions and how, I mean, you guys should have saw her. Like, she sat back and wanted everything perfect, 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 and it looks beautiful and cute, but she does that to honor Shannon. And for me, I just think, what a best friend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, who is my Holly in my life? Right? And so, how admirable. There aren't very many humans that would do what you're doing. And just to build this business bigger and bigger as her third baby, to give back to her two babies, like, how amazing is that? You're amazing. And
thank you.
I just get goosebumps thinking about it. There aren't very many people like you. So
that's so nice of you.
You just are amazing.
Well, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I was a stay-at-home mom. I have 4 babies. Like, I had no business stepping into this, and I still am learning so much. But it's really cool to be able to see her hands in things. And I mean, someone might think that that's silly to be like, she's orchestrating these things. I feel it,
no,
but I truly believe it in the fact that we were connected in the way and at the time that we were. Things like that happen often, and I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah, me
and
either.
I believe that is her way of telling me you're on the right path, or if I'm not, like, here, let me steer you this way.
Yeah.
And so I really try and hone in on that in
I'm
doing
here
what she
with
would do.
you, like just that comfort. How cool.
Yeah.
Some people wait a lifetime to get that message from someone they love, and the fact that she has such a hand in your life still is pretty remarkable.
Yes. So, why don't you show us some of the amazing products that you guys have?
We have our moccasins, right?
Yes.
We have 4 different styles. So we have a Moxford, which, and then we have our Moxie. This is probably our most popular style, and this color too. I mean, it's just so beautiful.
Yes.
So we have our Moxie. These are our modern mocks. Pretty simple, very basic, kind of spin off of like the original like fringe looking moccasin. And then these are the loafer mocks.
I love them.
And we have them in so many colors. Most of them are 1 through 5. Some of the older, or like the more popular ones, we have in a couple larger sizes.
So we were talking today when we were doing our segment about the first year box, the second year box, and love it. What a great idea.
Genius.
Yes, they're perfect for baby showers.
Oh my gosh.
And then, so it has all 3 styles and 3 different sizes and 3 different colors, because sometimes it's like, how do I choose?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have collections where we assemble our most popular styles together.
Yeah.
And it can be purchased at a discounted rate for as they progress and as they grow. Because sometimes too, people are like, how do I know what size I should get for my cousin's baby?
Yeah.
Right. And so that kind of takes that thought process out. And in conjunction with these, we have leather accessories. So we have pacifier clips and binky clips, bibs, those sorts of things. We also have these play mats. These ones are diaper changing mats.
Oh, okay.
And they come in 3 different sizes. So they coordinate.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a leather mat that you can wipe off.
I love that.
And it's pretty compact. If you just want to fold it up, I mean, it has this. We have 3 different sizes though. So this is the diaper mat. Okay. We have a play mat, and then we have a picnic mat too.
Nice.
So hair bows, all those things that you want to match your shoes.
Well, the quality.
So
yeah.
The quality is great. It's not, you guys did not cut any corners. That's beautiful.
And I can't take any credit for that. That's why sometimes it's hard to change things, is because when it's done right, you're like, I don't want to change it. It's not broken,
Yeah.
So if people are interested, where can they go to buy this stuff?
Sweetandswag.com.
Okay.
Our sister line too. This this is our knotted gown.
Okay, yep.
And we have matching accessories.
So cute.
And then we have swaddle blankets that go with them as well. So all the things that mama's going to need when she brings her baby home from the hospital. We have mother's gowns. We have nursing covers, which also dual purpose. They can be a car seat cover. So lots of coordinating options there too.
And they can get these at sweetandswag.com as
Yeah.
well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we have both brands on there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Holly. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to
Yes.
give me this opportunity to share Shannon with you a
Absolutely.
little bit.